Over the 20th century, various women's liberation movements have done a lot in order to bring awareness to sexual discrimination. However, even in the 21st century, we are far away from total gender equality. On International Women's Day, March 8th, I decided to break out the old video camera to try and figure out what the public perception of feminism was. Here's my video, Feminism in the 21st Century. I hope you enjoy. How would you define feminism?
That one's really tough.
I think feminism is equalism to some degree. I think it's making sure everyone has equal opportunities and equal rights, and old stereotypes aren't continued.
Do you guys believe women have gained equality in the 21st century?
I think they've gained a little bit more equality, or but I don't think necessarily we're all completely equal, because there's still like pay equity issues going on, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'd say no.
Really?
I'd say we totally have. I think, if anything, women have a bit of a hand up now that they can play the sexist card.
Good point, yeah.
I wouldn't say we have complete equality at this point, but I think, and hopefully it continues this way, that we're getting there. But I wouldn't say, there's lots of wage discrimination and stuff that still goes on, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Part of the issue that we have to deal with is that people are gendered, right? People still look at women as perhaps thinking, well, they're not the primary wage earner in that household, ergo they don't need to make as much money, we need to pay him more money. And that's certainly not the case.
Do you believe there is a glass ceiling that still exists in Canadian society?
I think it still exists. Is it general across industry, across companies? No, I think there are different cultures in different industries, and there's cultures in different companies.
Well, we've worked in the same workplace, for example, and I've had more experience going into the job, but we realized that I actually got paid less.
Another important issue to remember with women politicians is the media cover them differently. This is in Canada and the United States. They talk about their clothing, their makeup, if they look tired, before they talk about what they had to say. So regardless of how you feel about Christy Clark, for instance, some of the media coverage for her is at times gendered.
I think beauty culture is one of those things that affects men and women. It's real, it's kind of subconscious in who we are, and what we have to do is create processes and structures that don't allow those biases to interfere, in hiring decisions and all those other decisions we make.
Do you guys think feminism is still needed at this point in history?
No.
Why not?
I personally would say no.
I don't know. I'd be on the fence with that, I think.
Yeah, I don't really like feminism. I'd rather the term equalism.
Equalism?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Feminism is, I feel like it's just a bunch of crazy people being like, oh my god, like women's rights, but I like equal rights better.
I mean, I do consider myself a feminist, but I appreciate that for younger women, that's not always a label that they're interested in or self-ascribe. So I get that, and I'm okay with that. I just think that there's a danger in forgetting history. I think as women, we do have a responsibility to understand the history for those who have fought for us to have the opportunities that we have today. They did tremendous work. They worked incredibly hard. They put incredible things at risk. Personally, so I just, it doesn't matter to me if you call yourself a feminist, but it does matter to me that all of us appreciate what those women have done for us.
A lot of men are still pretty big bigots sometimes when it comes to women's rights, and slough them off or really dismissive about there even being a problem. So I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles to try and overcome, is just for people to actually acknowledge there is a discrepancy between equality in males and females.
What would your advice be to young women hoping to have a voice in politics?
Well, I love your question, because one of the things that I would say for young women is get involved with an organization like Equal Voice. Equal Voice is a multi-partisan organization that wants to elect more women, but also wants more young women to get involved in politics. So you could go to Equal Voice, join a party. One of the things that I'm always struck with is when I ask my first year class who is reading the newspaper or who is a member of a party, very few raise their hands.
What do companies need to do if they want to attract, retain, and have women be successful in their organizations? Get clear about your values and live them. It's a real easy cop-out to say, oh, we can't do this. My experience has been that organizations are successful when they do that. Because otherwise, if you don't know who you are, you're not going to attract sort of the right people. And maybe your culture is such that the way you stated your values won't be attractive to all women, but it'll be attractive to some women, and that's okay.
I wish that more people were reading Cynthia Enlow's map of women. It's a few years old now, but the data on it is still relevant. So I think, Women's History Month, International Women's Day, still relevant in, the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you very much.